Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever episode of the Cultcast, hosted by yours truly, OmegaPro, over on twitch.tv/OmegaPro every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What is the Cultcast? The Cultcast is a podcast where myself, that's right, me, talk about a bunch of random bullshit that I feel like talking about for that given week. Sometimes I'll have guests, sometimes I won't, but regardless, it's going to be fire. And don't worry, because next week, again, Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on twitch.tv/OmegaPro, on the YouTube channel, on Spotify, whatever the fuck you're listening to this on. I already have my first ever guest for the Cultcast locked in for next week. And I will be announcing that guest at the end of this podcast. So make sure you're locked in the whole time to know exactly who I'm going to be talking to next week. Ladies and gentlemen, time is lit. Let's get on into it, boys. So, one thing you need to know about me, if this is your first time hearing of me or your first time walking in, is that I am an audiosexual. That is what I identify as. So, every episode of the podcast, I might be using a different microphone or different headphones. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what it is. And of course, the link to this microphone, my headphones, my audio interface, my camera, everything I use to produce this show will be linked in the description below if you're watching on YouTube. The microphone, Shure SM7B, Rode Procaster 2 for the audio interface, and Bayer Dynamic DT700 Pros are the headphones on for today. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get into the first topic of the week, as this is probably the most important topic and the biggest topic, and that is going to be supposedly, mod check, the death of Twitch. The downfall of Twitch, whatever you want to call it. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of drama has been coming about. Now, in this episode of the podcast, I'm not really going to delve too much into the drama aspect because honestly, there's a mixture of drama and legitimate trauma and like horrible things happening to certain people on the platform and all that bullshit. I'm not going to dive into that here. The main thing that I wanted to talk about regarding the death of Twitch is how Twitch is stacking up against YouTube, talking about the gambling streams, the sexual content that is taking place on Twitch, and discussing what's the biggest problems on Twitch, what aren't necessarily the biggest problems on Twitch. So, the biggest thing that's been coming about for the death of Twitch is a recent article that got posted from Twitch themselves saying that they are going to reduce the partner contracts from being 70-30 to 50-50. Now, of course, a very small number of content creators even received a 70-30 split in general. Most of us are sitting here on a 50-50 split. So, this has come out and has angered a lot of people, rightfully so, but I also feel like low-key it's a little misguided, and a lot of people are saying, oh, this is why everybody's leaving Twitch for YouTube, this is why YouTube's going to take over, all that. Now, my personal opinion is that, yes, I do believe YouTube will take over at some point. However, I don't think now is that point. And even regarding all the bad shit that Twitch has done, I still think that YouTube is an inferior live streaming service to Twitch in pretty much every single way. So let's talk about that 70-30 split real quick, because fact of the matter is that a fraction of streamers would ever even receive that 70-30 split. Honestly speaking, even if you met the requirements for a 70-30 split, which it's been long rumored, long talked about, that it would be 500 concurrent subscribers, and this does not include Twitch Primes or gifted subs. It needs to be 500 individuals that are subscribing to you concurrently for like a few months before they would offer you, or before you could be able to negotiate a 70-30 contract. Now, I myself have at one point averaged over 500 unique subscribers here on Twitch. I have had friends that have surpassed that as well, and none of them were ever offered that 70-30 split, even if they initiated that conversation. So this leads me to believe that the only people that were receiving 70-30 splits or something better or whatever were people that were like on such a high level to where they were like the top 0.0001%. I think that's the type of people that were getting like the 70-30 split are probably streamers that are like probably a few hundred in size. And for context here, I believe there's like hundreds of thousands of streamers every month on Twitch itself. So out of hundreds of thousands, only a few hundred people are even receiving this contract. That's one thing. But I think one of the biggest problems with this entire contract situation is the fact that after a streamer makes their first $100,000 through subs alone, this is only counting the subscriber, what's the word I'm looking for? Gains for, financially. Once they surpass $100,000, then their 70-30 contract gets dropped to a 50-50. And that is actually troubling, not for the top tier streamers that are going to be just fine and rich or whatever. I mean, they are losing a substantial amount of money, but I mean, a lot of these dudes they're making so much money. If you're the type of dude that can make 100K off of just purely subs alone, I mean, this is not even counting in donations. You're probably also monetizing yourself on platforms like YouTube. You're probably making some sort of merch as well. And not to mention brand deals, which are crazy amounts of money for these higher tier streamers. They'll be just fine, but it's probably going to spit in a lot of their faces. And the problem is that if all of these bigger streamers end up leaving Twitch, this leaves Twitch in a horrible position because Twitch is probably the most top-heavy platform, period. Meaning that the top tier streamers, the top 1%, account for so much of the watch time hours and so much of the revenue generated by Twitch that if these people are displeased and start going off of Twitch, like onto YouTube or even using sites like Patreon or whatever, that is going to be a big blow to Twitch. And I don't think Twitch can really survive that, just being point blank and honest. Another thing about that 70-30 split is that people are really upset that the 70-30 split is gone entirely. So if you're a new up-and-coming streamer, you're not eligible for that 70-30 split. They're just never going to give it to anybody ever again. Now, again, I just have to reiterate this. I don't think this is that big of a deal, simply because it's not that big of a deal to the small fry, to the people like me, to the people like you that may be starting streaming, because the fact of the matter is that none of us would ever realistically hit those numbers. Even as somebody myself who has a sizable audience on Twitch, even I sort of always thought that the 70-30 split was more of a pipe dream than anything else. I did not think it was a realistic goal to attain, and I always wanted to diversify my income or monetize my income in other ways via brand deals or merch or anything like that, because truthfully speaking, if your revenue sources, if the majority of your revenue sources is coming off the back of viewer generosity, in a sense, you're setting yourself up for failure, straight up and honest. Because the fact of the matter is, especially if you're a small to mid-sized streamer, the fact of the matter is, some days, you know what I'm saying, people might shower you with subs, might shower you with donations. Some days you're doing excellent for yourself. I've had moments where I could not, like, I would be streaming, every single day, getting, 50 gifted, 100 gifted, 200 gifted, all this. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh shit. I woke up feeling XQC for real. Oh my God. I feel like, it's like, I'm really him. And then the next month happens, and then you get sub decay. And sub decay essentially means that all those gifted subs you got from that last month, well, they running up now. And now you out here looking like you barely qualifying for affiliate. And now, of course, this is spanning all across this is all over your mind now. You're like, damn, Am I a failure? Is my content getting worse? Blah, blah. You know, you really do not want to have the majority of your income coming from subscribers or your audience. You really want to make sure you can get as much income as you possibly can off of other means. And one of the ways that Twitch is allowing you to do this now is with the ad incentive program. Oh my God, the ad incentive program. This is a whole other big ass issue with Twitch. And I feel like I have an interesting take on it. So first and foremost, ads on Twitch are terrible. Ones in chat if you agree, claps in chat if you agree. Let me get a I hate my life in the comment section if you agree. Yes, the way that ads are integrated onto Twitch are horrible, and they take so much away from the content that it's frustrating, because ads being served on a platform like YouTube is much different than it being served on a platform like Twitch. Because when you're watching whatever video you're watching on YouTube, the ad plays, you're like, dang, okay, let me just skip this real quick. 5-second ad, 10-second ad. I can just hit the skip button after 5 seconds anyways. And then after all that is said and done, you know, your video picks up right where it left off. No big deal. However, on Twitch, you might tune into your favorite streamer, twitch.tv/OmegaPro, and he's going on a rant about how holding hands is more sus than sucking dick. And right before he gets to the climax, right before he gets to the best moment, the crux of the argument, all of a sudden, you get an ad. Lily Pichu pops up on your screen. Well, I guess not no more. She's on YouTube, right? Lily Pichu used to pop up on your screen trying to sell you a Coke bottle while your favorite streamer, OmegaPro, is about to tell you why you shouldn't hold hands. Because it's sus. And that sucks. It does. But ads are a necessary evil, especially on a video-based platform like Twitch, like YouTube. This is how they're going to retain most of their money. This is how they're going to turn a profit. And it sucks because the ads are really where Twitch should be focusing their attention on. But then they do a weird move by taking money away from the creators' subs, wherein they're not even making that much money off of that at all. Like the amount they would make off of like XQC's channel and how many subs he brings in is negligible. And it's not enough to be able to run a site like Twitch, just point blank and period. So they have to find other ways to bring in that revenue, and ads are the answer. So the way that they're trying to do this now is because before, nobody on Twitch would ever run ads because of the fact that Twitch streamers never made shit off of ads. I can tell you this. Let's just say, for example, I'm just going to throw random numbers out there. Let's say I made $3,000 off of subs on Twitch. That's a great amount. You're doing pretty well for yourself. 3 racks a month for streaming on Twitch. I think most people would be very happy with that. Guess how much of that came from ads? This is before the ad incentive program, of course. Before, I would probably make a couple $100 off of like $3,000 at $3,000 of my income, potentially like $200 to $300. A lot of times, less than $200 is what the ads would be paying me. So nobody would ever run fucking ads because it's fucking dumb. Why the hell are you going to interrupt your viewers' live or your viewers' viewing experience to run some ads that you're not going to get anything for? So that's what every streamer did. And then Twitch is like, hey, this shit is not sustainable. We need to start making more bans. We got to get these streamers to start running ads. So they launched the ad incentive program. Now, what most people don't know is that before the ad incentive program even went live, Twitch kind of beta tested this with another promotion that they were running. And this was, I believe it was last year, throughout the year of 2021 through November, December, and maybe January, maybe. I don't really remember, but they reached out to streamers and were like, hey, we're willing to pay you like 2.5 times your ad rate if you run like 3 minutes of ads an hour. And at the time I was like, okay, so I'm only making like $200 off of my ads every month, but 2.5 times. I'm like, what, $500 to run 3 minutes of ads? That doesn't sound too bad. So I mean, that's would you guys turn down an extra $500 in your paycheck every month? I highly doubt it. So I was tapped in. I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. That seems very reasonable. And then, that whole thing went away. And then a few months later, they announced the ad incentive program. And shout out to the viewers on Twitch. They're now spamming because they just got an ad as I get into this. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about the ad incentive program itself here. So on the ad incentive program, what's happening is that Twitch is doing something similar, except they're offering you a flat rate to run a specific number of ads on your stream. This can go anywhere from 3 minutes of ads to 10 minutes of ads an hour. And some people have gotten some really insulting offers. I have streamer acquaintances of mine that get very similar viewership to me, and they've been offered $60 to run 3 minutes worth of ads. Pretty fucking insulting. Now, I don't exactly know what the metrics or analytics behind these numbers are, but for me, as a small streamer, the amounts that they're offering me to run these ads would double my net pay. So I'm looking at this now, okay? As a streamer, I understand the frustration of ads, and I think ads served on Twitch are terrible, but they're offering to double my monthly take home to run ads. So I started running ads, and I've done the ad incentive program. And what I have found for my channel size, again, I don't think I ever even said this. I average somewhere in the ballpark of 300 to 400 viewers concurrently. Sometimes it's more than that, or if it's later, I'm playing a game nobody really gives a fuck about. Sometimes it'll be a little bit less than that, but that's around the ballpark, 300 to 400. So off of that income, that's enough to sustain myself. But now I'm getting double. Now this is this is like a real substantial increase, and I can make a lot of positive changes in my life, and I can do a lot of great things, and I have been. This ad incentive program has helped me out immensely. And luckily, I have the best viewer base on the fucking platform. And, the people that watch me understand that this is something that I can't really turn down. And they support that. And I'm very lucky and grateful to have that. But that doesn't really change the fact that if a new viewer were to find my stream, a new viewer that knows nothing about me, and they get fucking 12 billion ads, of course, they're gonna leave. Why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? So that's a whole other thing that people have to balance. And the amount of ads that Twitch wants you to run are pretty egregious. Now, if you are a higher tier streamer, I don't even know what your incentives are looking like, but you could probably go with denying that and not having to run that. And then there are streamers that have said that if Twitch forces them to run ads, they will leave. Jerma being one of them. Jerma is one of the most beloved creators on Twitch, and is a great streamer, does great content here. But he said he will straight up leave the platform if they force him to run ads. People are very anti-ad, and it makes sense. Now there are statistics and analytics that show. And I know this because I've actually had an internal discussion with some people over at Twitch. I don't think I'm really leaking anything here. I didn't sign no NDAs or whatever. But what they told me is that through their research and analytics is that when somebody is served a mid-roll ad on Twitch, they're far less likely to leave than if they were served a pre-roll ad. So what this essentially means is that Twitch is trying to do away with pre-roll ads, meaning when you click on a stream, you won't see an ad. And instead, they're going to try to lock you into that streamer's content for that 30-minute period or whatever. And then you'll start seeing mid-roll ads. Because from their logic, if somebody is already watching the stream and enjoying it, they're much more likely to sit through that ad if they already like you than if they don't know you, then they may just leave. And is that true? Who knows? I don't got the fucking analytics. I can see from my analytics that my viewership really hasn't changed all too much. All is, pretty much regular and normal. It's not to say I'm sure there's been people that have left. I'm sure there's people that have maybe tried to give my stream a chance and were like, fuck this, I'm not watching no ads, and more power to you. Of course, you can sub to avert or to get away from these ads, or you can use Twitch Turbo, which is what I use. I think Twitch is unusable without Twitch Turbo. But then you get into the whole bullshit of like, well, I don't really like the ethics of, creating a problem by serving you these ads and then selling you a solution for $10 a month. I get that too. It is a very troubling scenario. So I've laid out all these issues with Twitch, and I haven't even gotten into the gambling and all that other bullshit on Twitch. We'll get to that in a second. But with all that being said, Twitch is still a better platform to stream on and to watch streams than YouTube is. And there's a large, we can talk about this all day long, but if you're considering streaming on Twitch or streaming on YouTube, you really have to think about what kind of streamer you're going to be, because the fact of the matter is that a lot of people shit on Twitch for not having discoverability. Very valid. Neither does YouTube. If you want to find live content on YouTube, it's fucking impossible. Like, unless you already watch live stuff, then you might get some live videos in your recommended, but YouTube is a VOD platform first, so they're going to serve you videos, not live content, most likely. And there's no way to even browse live content. If you go on live, if I try to go flip through some live channels, I'm getting a bunch of like random bullshit, right? Like I'll like click on like the most viewed streamers or whatever on YouTube, and I'll get some like random motherfuckers playing like PUBG Mobile or whatever to like 10K viewers. But then like I'll be like, well, is like Dr. Disrespect streaming? I go to Dr. Disrespect streaming, he's right there with 30K. I'm like, why wasn't this shown to me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, browsing for live content on YouTube is fucking atrocious. The viewing experience on YouTube is laughable. It is so dog shit bad. Like, when you look at the landscape of Twitch, when you look at a Twitch live stream, like that invites you to chat. It's more of an experience between the chatter and the streamer, and it just works really well. Whereas on YouTube, it just feels so like disconnected. It's not inducive to a live format. It just does not feel that great. Not to mention everybody in chat has like the same name color, and it just looks, it just does not feel the same as Twitch chat. And that is a big reason why a lot of people stream on Twitch. But one of the biggest reasons why you should still stream on Twitch is because even though they're doing that 70, 30, 50, 50 shit, even though they're doing that ad bullshit, you still stand to make way more money on Twitch as a smaller creator than you do on YouTube. A streamer of my size on YouTube simply could not make the amount of revenue that I'm able to make on Twitch. The only way I think you could supplement that on YouTube is if you're also making YouTube video content, which you should be doing no matter which platform you stream on. But regardless, this is, very important to supplement some of the income you may be losing off of just your Twitch channel. But you have like the gifted subs on Twitch. You can do gifted subs or gifted members or whatever on YouTube, but there's some restrictions to it. I believe the person gifting members has to be a member themselves. And I think there's some other bullshit around it that it's like more roadblocks to be able to gift members. I think you can only gift people that are in that chat. I could be bullshitting. I could be just completely fucking lying. I don't know. But I know there's some restrictions around gifting members on YouTube. And then, of course, you have Twitch Prime, which is a huge source of income for a lot of streamers. And YouTube, and one of the biggest things, too, is that Twitch has cultivated a culture of generosity from the audience. Like, it's expected to like ask for subs or to get subs or to get donations or tips or whatever you want to call them. Like, that is expected to like on the culture of Twitch, whereas that culture does not exist on YouTube. What the culture of YouTube is okay, I'm looking for something specific, I want to watch an entertaining video about something and I want it served to me ASAP. I don't really want to think about shit. And then boom, it's right there. You click on it, boom. Now you're watching a video while you're fucking like playing a video game or something like that. Like that is the culture of content on YouTube. So YouTube has to try to get that same culture that Twitch has, where you're subbing and donating and doing all that stuff. And I think that is doable. I think the things that YouTube has to implement to surpass to be a better platform and end up surpassing Twitch is way easier to attain than what Twitch would have to change to please everybody. Because if Twitch were to implement changes that would please everybody, the company would bleed out and it would just fucking fail straight up, full stop. So I don't really know what the answer is for Twitch. YouTube, the answers are very clear. If they just fix their UI, add more browsability, discoverability, add more options to monetize your content like Twitch does. And I don't at current state with Twitch's with the people in charge of Twitch steering Twitch down this path, I simply do not see Twitch lasting very much longer. Probably 5 years max is what my guess would be here. Maybe even less, depending on how quick YouTube can implement these changes. One other thing that I wanted to touch on really quick is anytime Twitch does some fucked up shit, people are like, this is why everybody's leaving Twitch for YouTube. And all I have to say to that is who? Because the only people I've seen leave Twitch for YouTube are people that are being paid a lot of fucking money to do so. Not a lot of people are currently willingly leaving Twitch for YouTube. However, I do see that pendulum starting to swing. And I do see this being a very real thing because Twitch has garnered so much bad favor amongst their user base that I can see this happening. And that's what I think on the death of Twitch. Let's go ahead and now transition into gambling. Gambling has been banned on YouTube or on Twitch, kind of. And this sucks because this was like a home run hit for Twitch. And then they followed up with that whole bullshit I just talked about in the last segment. So gambling has been neutered on Twitch. You can still play poker and you can still do sports betting. Now, this comes about because of that whole Slicker drama that came out where he was scamming fellow streamers and viewers out of thousands of dollars. They did the math. I think the total was like $384,000 total that this dude Slicker scammed from people. And not looking necessarily so great for Twitch to house gambling content. So they added some restrictions. Now, pretty much their only restrictions are slot or luck-based gambling is now prohibited on Twitch as long as they do not follow current United States regulations on gambling. Now, there are still gambling sites that do follow, current United States regulations and take more consumer protection into account and stuff like that. And those are still legal to gamble on. But primarily sports betting and poker are still completely fine. And, a lot of people have been talking about this because of the fact that Slicker, the guy that probably is responsible for getting gambling finally taken off of Twitch, he lost all of his money supposedly through sports gambling, and that is a gambling that is still allowed on Twitch. Now, I don't really necessarily even know how the fuck you stream yourself doing sports gambling, but I guess you technically could. And then in the aspect of poker, I think poker is still a little bit different to normal gambling. There's the argument to be made that, they should just ban gambling or they should just ban poker playing if you are using real money for that. But, at the very least, poker is a sport. Poker is something you can be good at. Poker is something you can outplay somebody at. At least there's some distinction there. It's not just purely, clicking a button that costed you $5,000 and then you just get fucked. You know what I mean? So it's definitely a little bit different. I think the people that are trying to conflate poker with regular gambling, I think they're being rather disingenuous. I don't think it's really similar at all. But yeah, end of the day, gambling, pack watch. I'm going to talk about more. I'm going to talk more about gambling in this next segment here. And this next segment will also be a separate video on YouTube. Twitch has a real problem, okay? And that real problem is the misogyny on the platform and the sexual content on the platform. So let me start this off by saying my stance on the sexual content on Twitch currently. Do I think it is weird as fuck that on a platform where you can watch people play fucking Minecraft and Roblox, that you're just a few short clicks away from seeing, half naked people in hot tubs? Sure, of course I am. Like, yeah, that's a little fucking odd. I think there should be more separation there. It shouldn't be as accessible. Regardless, whatever. However, I simply cannot understand, and I just flat out disagree with the people that are saying that this is some like big, huge, entire moral issue, and saying like, oh, but think about the kids. And this is the number one thing that, like, the number one aspect that has fucking pissed me off more than anything. Because if you think about this shit, bro, like, you turn on the TV, bro, every TV show's got sex scenes in it. Every TV show is explicit. Every TV show is showing motherfuckers getting their heads split open. I had regular ass cable, and I saw Gus Fring from Breaking Bad missing half of this nigga's face. And I just saw that shit on TV. That was just on there, gang. Like, let's stop the cap and stop acting like, for one, that kids aren't exposed to this kind of content, and that two, like, it's some big, huge, harmful thing. So this kid sees some fucking titties. Who gives a fuck? Who actually cares? Niggas see titties every day. How young were you when you guys started watching porn, bro? I think I must have been like 10, 11 years old when one of my friends showed me porn for the first time. 11 years old. I'm like, bro, what the? Bro, I thought you was going to show me Slifer the Sky Dragon, bro. Like, I thought you was going to show me the Winged Dragon or Rod, bro. What the fuck is it? Bro, I was a kid watching Two Girls, One Cup, my boy. Yeah, I probably just dated myself, low key. But regardless, back in the early era of the internet, bro, you hopped on the internet and you saw the most gruesome shit possible. The Pain Olympics. Do y'all even know what that is? I'm sure a lot of you niggas know what that is, or have at least heard of it. Like, all this shit that we're seeing, like, as kids, all the shit that we're exposed to, am I saying that we should be exposed to that shit? Of course not. That shit's traumatizing. It's horrifying. But to act like, all of our games aren't filled with this shit, to act like all the media we consume isn't filled with this shit, to act like America itself isn't a hypersexualized country is fucking insane. Like, everything is sexualized. You can't go nowhere without some shit being sexualized. So why are we acting like this has such a negative impact on children, or a negative impact on young boys? What negative impact? Like, what is it? I want to know. Because we know about negative impacts from gambling. We know that people have scammed family members, have burned bridges, have gotten themselves into generational debt. Like, into so much debt, they have fucked over their family lineage for years. This is how negative gambling can impact somebody's lives. People take their own lives due to gambling. How could you ever equate gambling to sexual content on Twitch as if it's even remotely the same? As if the shit that Amaranth licking her fucking microphone is causing as much harm as gambling does. Get the fuck over yourselves. All you're doing is thinly veiling your blatant misogyny and sexism. That's just all that you're doing, because you cannot provide any valid enough reason to say that sexual content is as bad or on the level of gambling. When they banned gambling, they're like, oh, here we go. But let me take a screenshot of Amaranth's stream. Oh, but this is allowed. what? What you're doing is like low key, like is like showing up to a murder trial and being like, okay, cool, we got rid of the murderer, but this nigga was jaywalking. Like, oh, Batman, you stopped the Joker. Congratulations. Are you gonna stop the nigga jaywalking? Are you gonna stop the nigga that threw his Snickers wrapper on the ground? What about him, Batman? Oh, you can stop the Joker, but you can't stop niggas littering? I just feel like that's weird. Bro, littering is wrong. We all agree. We trying to save the planet. Littering sucks. But me personally, I look at a nigga that threw a Snickers wrapper on the ground a little different than nigga that caught 6 bodies. That's just me. I don't know if I'm crazy on that. That's just me. I feel like those two are a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So to say that, to bring up sexualized content in the same vein as something like gambling or any other controversy that happens, people trying to say, oh, let's deplatform Slicker or whatever the fuck. Like let's get him out. He's like, oh, all he was doing was gambling, bro. But what about that girl that has sex on stream? And by the way, this is another crazy thing. They started spreading around another clip of that girl that had sex on stream. They started spreading another clip being like, oh, she got unbanned and did it again. Twitch is failing. It was from the same VOD, nigga. Honestly, impressive. She was getting stroked down twice. First of all, let's talk about the production quality of that girl's stream. Because in the same stream, she fucked the same dude in 2 entirely different locations with 2 entirely different camera angles. Honestly, I respect it, low key. Low key, I respect it. But again, people having sex on stream, like let's even say that, okay? Let's even say people having sex on stream. I'm trying to find a way to phrase this. Who cares? Like, okay, is that something we should allow? No, obviously. Like, we should ban people that are fucking on stream. We should get rid of that. Of course, nobody's going to advocate for that. But you niggas act like seeing some like soft core ass porn where you really can't even really see much. You act like this is so damaging or some shit, or like this is such an evil thing or whatever. And it's really crazy because you have real life niggas right now streaming on Twitch that was scamming their fan bases on CSGO gambling sites. And they're streaming right now. But you telling me the girl that's having sex is the bigger issue than that? Bro, it's just disingenuous. It's pure misogyny. And seeing all these tweets of like, okay, they finally banned gambling, but what about the whores on the platform? Can we get rid of the whores on the platform? Like, y'all know that FaZe dude, FaZe Bozo, whatever that nigga's name was. Oh my God, bro, that tweet dead pissed me off. For the uninitiated, when gambling got banned, some FaZe Bozo nigga came out and was like, oh, can we get rid of the whores on stream, right? Or the whores making sexualized content? You know what I mean? And he caught a bunch of shit for that. Then deleted the tweet and then started going around. And this was this nigga's defense, like dead ass. This was this nigga's defense. I never said a specific gender. Y'all did that. So y'all are the problematic ones. I never said nothing. Like, I could have been talking about anybody. Bro, shut your disingenuous ass up. We all know the kind of connotation you're speaking of. You could have said any gender. Show me a nigga making sexualized content. I'll wait. Like, you know what you're talking about. Like, you know what you're doing. Shut your bitch ass up, you fucking lame ass motherfucker. We know what you're talking about. Now you're trying to hide behind, well, I didn't technically say. Bro, shut your dumb ass up, goofy. The misogyny on Twitch is baffling. For example, let's take a look at Pokimane, okay? Pokimane is getting so much shit for getting gambling banned on stream. Despite the fact that well, I guess that's not necessarily a credible source here. Despite the fact that Asmongold, despite the fact that Ludwig and many other streamers also advocated for the removal of gambling at the same time Poki did. In fact, they did it before Poki. Poki is the one catching all the shit for it. Now it's El Pokimane. Oh, Twitch bends the knee to Queen Pokimane or some shit like that. Like, first of all, this isn't even the first time Pokimane has spoken up against gambling. She's done this many times. She has been against gambling many times in the past. So it's not like she finally said, wow, we should do something about this, and then Twitch listened. She's been advocating for banning gambling. So, like think about this. Do you think, like, honestly, think about this shit. The tensions have been rising around gambling for months now, okay? What do you think is more likely? The fact that Pokimane sent out a tweet and said, hey, we should remove gambling, and that is what made Twitch get rid of gambling? Or the fact that a prominent streamer scammed viewers and other streamers out of nearly $400,000 fucking dollars, and this article and this story is getting broken by many news sources. It's all over the internet. It's all over news reports, news stations, all over many different websites. It's everywhere. What the fuck do you think is more likely that Twitch reacted to? A fucking Pokimane tweet or a nigga going viral off of scamming hundreds of people to feed his gambling addiction? And then you go on Twitch and a lot of your top streamers are streaming that gambling. And then you could say, oh, they didn't even ban the kind of gambling that Slicker did. It's about the optics of it. Because truthfully, with the restrictions that Twitch put, is it an end all to gambling on stream? No, it's not. You can still find ways to gamble on stream. You can. But this at least adds a barrier there. It's at least a huge step forward, a huge step in the right direction. And for people to try to use this gambling situation as a way to spin it and try to attack women on the platform is purely disgusting. And you wonder why women don't want to be a part of these groups. You wonder why women never want to, speak out against weird ass niggas or whatever. Because anytime a woman has an opinion on something, she's getting attacked. It just doesn't matter what it is. And for a perfect example, I have women friends that also stream that are also around my size, and they'll say a lot of the similar shit I say. If anything, they sugarcoat it a little bit better than I do. And the chat when they're talking versus when I'm talking is different. It's an inherent bias for whatever reason. Well, it's not for whatever reason. It's because misogyny. When a woman speaks up about something, when a woman has something to say, people are less likely to listen. This is why it's so imperative. And this is why it's so important that the male community leaders, that the people in charge stand up for this shit. When you have motherfuckers making jokes saying, oh, let's get these whores off of Twitch, what do you think their viewers are going to start saying? What do you think their viewers are going to start doing? They're going to start saying and doing the same exact shit. Like, you as a male streamer or a male content creator, you have a responsibility if you care about, the safety and the lives of women on these platforms. You have an obligation to take a stand for them or to tell your viewers to cut this shit out. If you see this type of shit happening, because like if you think about this, if you're a woman that's streaming or whatever the fuck, and let's say somebody in the chat is giving you shit or harassing you for being a streamer or for being sexist or whatever. It's almost like a woman is expected to laugh it off or be like, ha ha ha, type shit. And if they take a stand or if they fight back or some shit, it's like, oh, are you on your period, ma'am? Like, oh, here, you know what I mean? That's why it's up to the men to course correct that shit, to make sure that that viewers are acting in good faith and to keep them in line. And shit, even other streamers, like if a woman has a problem with another streamer or another streamer is making comments that make them feel uncomfortable, it would be like she would be looked at weird for bringing that up. That's why you, as the man in the situation, as the male, you gotta correct your other male friends. You gotta be, yo, cool it. Like, that's just not cool. Now, of course, in situations you can't mind read and know exactly when somebody's feeling uncomfortable, but I just don't understand like what is so hard about holding yourself accountable for your community and holding yourself accountable for your friends. I made a video about this too. I'll probably throw it up in the description if you're watching this on YouTube, where people should be held accountable for their communities, because the fact of the matter is, whether you like it or not, you are an influencer. Your job is to influence. That is why brands are paying you buku bucks, bro, because you are an influencer. So when you're using your platform, even if you think you're just making jokes, being whatever, you are negatively impacting the lives of women inadvertently, whether you realize it or not. It's just true. And I just really wish to see people do better, because these low-hanging fruit jokes are just despicable. And it really pisses me off, because the people that make these kinds of comments or make these kinds of jokes will play it off as if they're being victimized, as if everybody, soft Twitter, fucking snowflake Twitter, you know, they can't take a joke or whatever the fuck. And like they picture them, or they paint themselves as if they're the victim, when in actuality, you get rewarded for making misogynist comments. You get rewarded for that shit, because you're going to have your dumb little fucking, your dumb little community members be like, ha, Spit King, ha, WW, fucking, get these fucking whores off the platform, titty streamer, fucking hot. First of all, I don't even know how the fuck people are finding so many titty streamers. Because the way, I don't know, maybe it's the way I use Twitch, but on my homepage, no matter where I'm browsing, on my following page, I don't see a single titty anywhere. Okay, actually, that's kind of cap. I do follow Amaranth because I'm just trying to support Amaranth, because that girl's a fucking genius when it comes to business. So I'm like, I bet. Go ahead, Amaranth. I mean, I'm never watching an Amaranth stream. That's not the kind of content I like, but I just got to follow to show support, because shit, maybe she could buy me a gas station, make me a millionaire. I don't fucking know. But regardless, I don't even understand how they're finding this content. Like, if you're finding that content, it's probably because it's content you're looking up, probably because it's content you're searching for or watching regularly. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand how people are even, you know, finding this shit in the first place. But regardless, there is a sexual content problem on Twitch, and I do think it should be addressed. There should at least be an 18 plus category on Twitch or whatever. I don't have the fucking answers for that. But to act like the sexual content on Twitch is the biggest problem, or even a big problem on Twitch, is crazy. It just is. You know, we got rid of some of the gambling. We're gonna see what that what the impact of that is. I think the misogyny and the racism on the platform is way fucking worse than sexual content, and that is something that we have to fix, like as a community on this platform. And the only way we can ever fix this is if we continue to talk about it and we continue to take a stand against this shit. And yeah, that's just how I feel about it, man. Twitch has a real misogyny problem, and it permeates all throughout the community, the viewers. I mean, shit, I don't mean to bring this person up, so I'm not going to say them by name, but if you know the whole drama happening right now with certain community members and a certain woman or whatever, I mean, you even had moderators of high-tier streamers saying that she's just a dumb bitch clout chaser. You even had other streamers calling her a dumb bitch clout chaser while she's opening up in one of the most vulnerable moments a person can ever be in. It's an issue with the gaming and Twitch community as a whole, and it's something that I am going to work my ass off every day to see change, because I'm a part of this community. I love this community, and that's just not something that I accept. I would not feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable. Like, how could I ever ask like a female friend of mine to like start coming on Twitch, or how can I ever encourage a female friend of mine to start going live, knowing what I'm putting them in the crosshairs of? I couldn't do it. I don't feel comfortable doing that. And I do not blame women for being fed up with this fucking platform. I do not blame women for hating this shit, because it's just simply disgusting. And I hope we can do better. I dropped my chapstick. Okay, that is the end of that topic. Ladies and gentlemen, while we're talking about women, let's go ahead and do a regular podcast segment here on the podcast, the Cultcast. ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you to Waifu of the Week. This is a segment where every month, or every week rather, on the podcast, we share our waifu. So if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to go tell me who you nominated as your waifu of the week. For week 1, there is nobody better that I can think of to have as my waifu of the week other than Gloria. Gloria is the official Cultcast waifu of the week, number 1. Let me know what you guys think about this one in the comment section. If you're watching on Spotify or anything like that, I probably made you crash your car. I apologize. But that ass just does not quit. It just does not quit. Gloria, DM me. Okay, poggers. Moving on. Oh, shit. Moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time that I present you with another weekly roundup. We have our Dick Rider of the Week. So, what is the Dick Rider of the Week? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is the person who has dick ridden me the most for that current week. And the Dick Rider of the Week is going to have to go to Based LaRock in the Twitch chat. Shout out Fat Kid Deals, Fat Kid Mafia, we out here. The reason why I have decided to bestow Dick Rider of the Week upon Based is because the whole reason I'm starting this podcast is because of Based. So let's get some Drakes in the chat for Based. He is our Dick Rider of the Week. If you would like to become Dick Rider of the Week for next week, please feel free to continue to hop in the chat, ride my dick, hop on my tweets, ride my dick in the comment section. Also, for next week, I will be highlighting one comment from the last episode of the podcast on the next episode of the podcast. So if you would like to have your comment highlighted, I don't know, make it a fucking good one, you damn bozo bitch. Okay, next up, we have another weekly regular edition. We have Clip of the Week. And I feel like there's only one clip I could ever nominate for Clip of the Week for this week because it went kind of viral, low key, and it did some numbers after I had tweeted it. So we're going to go ahead and showcase a clip of why I am simply built different than the rest of my viewers in chat. Enjoy it. Meniscus tear is old people shit. So I suppose all NBA athletes. So I suppose Lonzo Ball is an old person because he suffered a meniscus tear. Is that what you're saying? NBA athletes are old folks now when they suffer an injury. No, we're just athletic. You would know nothing about that, nigga, because the only fucking workout you get is when you sit on your fucking, is when you sit at your dumbass desk and watch XQC and Hassan debate for 2 hours, nigga, and you typing in chat saying, Hassan, you dumb fuck. The only injury you've ever gotten is carpal tunnel, nigga. You know how I tore my meniscus? I was cutting it up on the dance floor, nigga. What else? What else, nigga? I was on the dance floor twerking, nigga. You've never twerked, nigga. You don't know what it's like to rub your ass against the backs or against the front side of another man, do you, nigga? You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to back that ass up on a nigga and back that ass up so good the nigga start chubbing up a little bit, nigga. We not the same, bitch. So I hope you guys enjoyed that clip. If you are watching on Spotify, I just realized that I was not recording that specific audio from my PC. So if you are watching on the podcast and you would like to see what that clip was, or I should say listening on Spotify, it's about 52 to 53-ish minutes into the YouTube video if you would like to go see what that clip was. Or you can just follow me on Twitter and you'll find it there at OmegaPro YT. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and for the last segment for this episode of the very first ever Cultcast podcast, we have the questions/advice from the audience. This is where I hop into my Discord, into the podcast topics section of my Discord. You can find my Discord link in the description on YouTube. Or if you're watching or listening on Spotify or whatever podcast app you use, discord.gg/OmegaPro, and you will be into the Discord. Okay, this comment comes from King Nija, or his Discord name, the Holeless Messiah. With the recent events on Twitch, do you think content creation in its current state is catered to sociopaths to blow up, or does content creation itself turn normal people into clout chasing folks? Good question here. I think, generally speaking, the type of people that make good content are fucking insane. You have to be batshit insane, a little egotistical, a little bit of a narcissist to be able to make it in this industry, especially if you want to blow up onto the level of being like a top 0.1 creator or whatever the fuck. I do think that you gotta be a little fucking crazy, because at this point, I don't think there's any single content creator that isn't huge and massive that is not fucking insane. The only one I could think of is Moist Critical. Shout out to him. He was featured in the clip. I was not talking about Critical in that clip, by the way. I know some people on Twitter did think that. But even then, you still don't know this nigga's past. You still don't know everything about, bro. He could be hiding shit. Nobody is safe. Stop worshiping content creators, because fact of the matter is, you don't know shit about them. The only content creator you can worship is me. Welcome to the cult, baby. You get me? As to whether or not it turns normal people into clout chasers, I think there's something to be said about that, because I think when you find the type of content that does well for your channel, I think you tend to like lean into that a lot. And a lot of times the shit that does well is the crazy shit. So I think it's a little bit of both. You got to be a little bit detached or whatever the fuck to be a successful content creator. And also, I think that because of just the way content creation is, I think it will further accentuate, any insanity and make you like even crazier. That's personally what I think. Strap the Hollow has a question. How do you feel about the red pill community, i.e. fresh and fit, etc., pushing the agenda of alpha males can cheat and women are below them? So I thought this was going to be a different question about how I feel about red pilled communities in general. And I was going to be a little bit more sympathetic towards them, simply because of the fact that there was a time where red pill content creators actually brainwashed me a little bit. I can talk about this on a future episode of the Cult Cast. I don't think I got time for it right now, unfortunately. But yeah, so like I was into like red pill content at one point. Now this one in particular, about alpha males can cheat and women are below them. I mean, obviously that's something that I don't think anybody, would agree with. Any sensible person would agree with that. However, it is kind of interesting to think about this, because when I was like maybe, I want to say like 20-ish, 19 or something like that, I remember this very distinctly. I was hanging out with a couple of my friends at like a McDonald's at like fucking midnight or some shit. It was super late. And they were talking to me about their girl problems and, all that other bullshit. And they started to talk about, women cheating and stuff like that. Because of the fact that, my friends themselves, they did cheat on women and stuff like that. And I was calling them out on it, as a real friend would do, I would hope. And I was like, well, you want your girl to be loyal, but like you cheating. And what they said to me was that like, that it's fine for a man to cheat and it's not fine for a woman to cheat, because like a man has needs, a man needs to go like, do his thing, but like he still loves his girl. That's why like they come back to them and all that stuff. And they were trying to tell me all this bullshit. And I was looking at my friends like you niggas are dumb. Like just point blank and period. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I just disagree. I think you guys are wrong here. And at that time, I relate a lot to you guys in the fact that I was a holeless motherfucker at one point in my life. I had 0 bitches. That's right. No bitches, no drip, no Riz, and that is something that, they brought up. They were like, you'll understand once you like, start dating more and date more women and stuff like that. And what ended up happening, a few years later, one of my friends came back to me because I'm not friends with the other guy anymore. One of my friends came back to me and was like, yo, do you remember that conversation we had at McDonald's about like cheating and stuff like that? And I was like, yeah, I do. And he was like, bro, you was right. And what changed his mind, from what I think, is, he got in a serious relationship and, fell in love and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of what changed his mind. So, I'm happy for my friend. I'm happy, he changed his mind on that, because that is a very problematic thing to deal with. So I'm glad that's no longer the thing. iCall is this person's Discord name. What's your opinion, if you have one, on Big Mode, Video Game Donkeys Publishing Company? Now, I don't really have a lot to say on this, but the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because I've had a lot of people ask me about this. I think it's cool that he's doing this, and I hope for success for this. I know he got like some shit, and some people were like preying on his downfall, type B, whatever. I don't really give a fuck about that. I just hope that he does well, and I hope that it succeeds. I think it's a cool thing to do, and it's something that, of course, I would support. This one comes from Akira Kason. If you have ever felt lonely, how did you deal with it? For the Spotify listeners, I am currently doing a blank stare into the camera as I look inwardly at myself and realize that I simply do not have an answer. A lot of the times what I'll do is I'll write music, I'll record music, do something like that, but most of the time it involves crying into my pillow. Not feeling very, very great with myself. But I think it's important to note that a lot of the times when you feel lonely, like, this is going to sound like some just get over it type shit, but like a lot of the times when you feel lonely, that is your mind playing tricks on you, in the sense of like, you're not actually lonely. Like, people care about you. People would be there for you if you let them. I feel like what happens with a lot of lonely folks, like myself, is that we're lonely kind of because we push everyone away. Like, I feel like we're lonely because like we don't accept help or we don't want help. And that's just not, you're never going to get better by thinking like that. You know what I'm saying? So if you do want to defeat that feeling of loneliness, then you have to reach out, because I'm willing to bet this has probably happened to you guys, because I know it's happened to me. But, friends would ask me to hang out, would ask me to do this, would ask me to do that. Hey, do you want to go do this? Hey, do you want to go do that? And I'd always make excuses for why I didn't want to go, because I'm wallowing in my self-pity. I'm wallowing in depression. I'm wallowing in my loneliness. And that's it. Right. So at a certain point, they will stop asking you because you always say no. You know what I'm saying? So now it's up to you if you want to get out of this loneliness, right? It's up to you to now do the reaching out. And I know that sucks because reaching out is the hard part, especially because you probably feel like everybody hates you because you're always, not down to hang out, or you're always like not there or whatever. And trust me, my brother, I know that sucks. But if they're your friends, they love you, they'll be there for you. And, hopefully you can defeat that loneliness. I'm on your side, Gango. I hope you do that quick, fast, and in a hurry. Breaks. Ace Senpai. This will be the last question for the podcast, and then we will end off the very first episode of the Cultcast. Thank you to the 500 concurrent viewers we had watching the whole time over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/OmegaPro. Okay, Ace Senpai asks, what do you think about Twitch playing favorites when it comes to platform issues? Example, fast response on gambling debate versus no response on hate raids targeting POC creators. I think you just asked me two different questions, because I don't think that second question or that example really plays into the favoritism that Twitch does exhibit. Because of the fact that the fast response on the gambling debate versus no response on the hate raids you have to take a look at how both of these issues are impacting the platform and how easy it is. Sorry, I just beat the shit out of my mic. And how easy it is for them to fix that problem, right? So, with gambling, the problem is that it's an unethical thing to be promoting. It's unethical for people to be doing. And if you are a business that has, a large viewer base, and a lot of them may be younger, introducing them to something that is an addiction, that is a serious vice that causes people to go broke, that causes people to unalive themselves. This is a very bad look for Twitch entirely. And point blank and period, it's just not something that should have ever been on the platform. So I don't think it's necessarily a fast response to the gambling debate, because the gambling debate has been a thing for so long. It's just it took this one action to finally get them to do something. And you also have to think about how easy it is for them to fix the issue, right? In order for them to stop the gambling issues, all they would have to do is say, hey, you can't gamble no more. 2 sentences, 3 fucking seconds, and the issue is solved. Now, the thing about hate raids and stuff like that, it was a very big issue on Twitch a while ago. Now, again, I cannot pretend to know everything about the inner workings of Twitch, but fixing the hate raids did seem like it would be a harder issue to deal with than the gambling issue, because again, all it is just, hey, stop gambling, versus the hate raid issue, which is something that is I don't even know how the fuck people were doing those hate raids. Some bullshit, they were tricking on some Twitch shit, and then Twitch's response to being like, oh, just enable follower only mode or all that stuff, like all that shit that would harm a creator's growth. It's just it wasn't a sufficient answer, and I'm still very disappointed in the way that Twitch handled the hate raid fiasco that happened on the platform. That was very disheartening. Now, to the first question, what do I think about Twitch playing favorites? I mean, it makes sense to a degree, because yes, obviously XQC is going to get better treatment than me. Like, I think that makes some amount of sense. Now, in a perfect world, should that be the case? Probably not. It's probably a shitty thing, but it makes sense. The guy making them millions probably deserves, a higher priority over some small peons such as myself. But it is disheartening when you see people that are able to skirt the lines, that are able to break the rules and do all this shit, and then walk away pretty much scot-free, and or walk away with a slap on the wrist at best, and then other creators get destroyed for it. And I think going back to that whole misogyny topic we talked about earlier, a lot of people will blame it on women and be like, oh, that girl that fucked on Shame only got 7 days. This guy, and Gideon is permaban. And by the way, just to make my record clear, I do not believe Gideon deserves a permaban for what he did. But, regardless, the people will make it about race or whatever, or not race, gender, sorry. And I don't think that's the entire issue, because you've seen streamers do fucked up things, the XQC, Miz, Hassan, everybody's done fucked up things, and I pretty much walked away with what is equivalent to a slap on the wrist. Meanwhile, E-Rob says he's going to punch someone at TwitchCon and gets 30 days. It's a little ridiculous. Twitch very clearly plays favorites, and it's something that I just don't think you can escape, point blank and period. I just don't think you can escape. And to wrap up this Twitch news, we have gotten confirmation that 2 huge members that were employed by Twitch have resigned. I'm seeing this one here from Connie Knight has resigned. That is the SVP of Global Creators. And then somebody else resigned earlier today as well. And they cited that the leadership of Twitch has completely lost all contact with creators, and they are purely profit driven. So this is definitely a disheartening thing to hear as a Twitch creator. But yeah, everybody, that is the end of the first episode of the Cloutcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, Thank you to the 500 plus concurrent viewers we had watching over on Twitch the entire time. Twitch.tv/OmegaPro. Follow me on Twitter, OmegaProYT. Join up the Discord to have your potential question answered on the next Cultcast next week. And the guest for next week, ladies and gentlemen, I will be having on anime YouTuber Swag Kage as a guest on the next episode of the Cultcast to talk about anime, this new season of anime coming up in October. We got Bleach, we got Mob, we got Chainsaw Man, and we will be talking everything anime related and also just, poking around Swag Kage's head a little bit. And that will be the first ever guest for the Cultcast. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see you next week, next Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, twitch.tv/OmegaPro. I'll see you there.